Where's that dang thing? There it is.
Discharged into space, changing the life of one hapless duck and transforming him into a hero called Wonderduck.
What's up, George? What's going on in the House of Craze tonight?
In the House of Craze tonight, we have Mr. Keith Gleason, and we're going to be talking to him about his book, Mighty Mascots. It's coming up next.
Let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze Podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George the Dreamer Medina. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode of Catch the Craze. We are live tonight. It is Tuesday, April 19th, and we're going to be talking to Keith Gleason. He has a book called Mighty Mascots from Alterna Comics. So he's going to be talking to us in just a few minutes. This was supposed to be a show. We're going to pre-record and air it later on, but, you know, it's live now. So if you haven't had the chance yet, please subscribe to the channel, hit like, comment below, do all that stuff. Hit the bell so that you know when we're going live. We're actually going to have another show at 8 o'clock coming up.
Jiggalane.
About an hour. That's right. That's right. But what's going on, Sammy? How you doing, brother?
Sam is busy, bro.
Busy.
Sam is busy getting ready for the expo. I've just been grinding, you know, 2 months time. There's a lot you have to get for an event like this. There's a lot that has to get done, right? And so when I put the list together, and I was like, where's my team?
Hold on. So what event are you talking about? Because for those who don't know,
and now you know, and no one's half the battle. G.I. Joe, bam, the Licensing Expo, booth D104. That's where you'll find me. It's good. Oh yeah, I saw this. There are comic book publishers there. Dark Horse is there. Yeah, so this is a major undertaking because within, when I booked it, I had 8 weeks to have pitch decks, marketing decks, press kits, samples of all the products, come up with the display for the booth. This isn't this is a booth. This is a 10-foot by 10-foot booth that you walk into, have graphics for the walls. You can't use pipe and drape, none of that stuff. Everything has to be affixed to the wall or freestanding props. So the amount of work I've been grinding from 7 a.m. to midnight every day. I took a break on Sunday, East Sunday, to hang with my wife. But every day just been grinding. So yeah, it's a major undertaking. I'm excited about it. I can't wait till I get there. But yeah. So I've been working on that. The Kickstarter campaign is fulfilled for There's Nailing in My Toilet, all with the exception of one backer who never responded to their emails or the surveys. I sent emails, I sent surveys. So the package is there. So whenever they come out of slumber and they decide to remember that they actually backed this campaign and there's a reward, outstanding reward, it's already packaged. I just need you to hit me up with your address. But other than that, just been grinding.
Yeah, no, I hear that, dog. I hear that. Got to do what you got to do.
Yes,
That's a big show. The
it's
licensing
huge.
show. And for those who don't know what the licensing show is, that is an international show where people come in there to look for new things that are coming out, throw some licenses at them,
Yeah,
make some
basically, it's
deals.
all of the
You know,
new everybody who has a property that they're looking to license, and every organization's acquisitions team, licensing agents, and
they be there.
they're there. So they're
Yeah,
looking for new content, and they're actually presenting what's coming out in the next 12 to 24 months. So
yeah,
like new movies, new toy lines, all that stuff they'll be presenting there, but also they'll be looking for new talent as
mhm,
well. So that's where this is different from you're not selling anything, you're
right,
trying to, make deals.
right. Yeah, and hopefully, land a license that'll catapult you
We
to the
shall see.
next level, kind of thing. So that's what that's about. So that's
Yeah.
going down end of May.
The week before
So
the launch of Designated in My Toilet issue number 2. So, and then when I come back, we'll be launching this on May 31st. That's gonna be dope. So
mhm.
yes, the week before that, and
Yeah.
then, so yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, no. So sign up. Make sure you guys have signed up to that pre-launch page. Hit the notify me button so you know when it goes live on the 31st. We're gonna have a show to launch the campaign on the 31st. So you'll see it there. But in case you forget, hit that notify me button so that you do get an email alert that says, hey, this thing is live. Get ready to,
Yeah.
you know, support it. So yeah, make sure you do. Make sure you follow that. The launch page is up now, and the link is in the show notes. So make sure
Yes.
you go down there and check that out. Hit that link and
Yeah.
hit the notify me button. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
you're
yeah, that week,
what are you, like,
what happened?
20 days away from your launch?
15 days away from launch, just a little over 2 weeks. So the campaign goes live May 4th, and it will actually go through to June 1st. Originally, I was going to end it, but we're not going to be here for that week where it'll end. So I extended it another week, so it'll end on June 1st, and that'll be the last day. So it'll be from May 4th to June 1st. That's how long the campaign will last. And if you haven't yet, please make sure that you sign up to the pre-launch page for that campaign as well. It's in the show notes. The link is down there. And thank you to everyone who's already let me know that they've signed up. Thank you for signing up. And I'm looking forward to it, man. 15 days to go. If
Yeah.
you haven't done
You
so
got
yet,
90 signups. That's dope.
yeah. If you haven't done so yet, please let me know you signed up, because I do want to send you a PDF of this guy right here. I have prints that I'm putting together for everyone who signs up. I will send you a PDF version of this in your email, and then if you do decide to pledge when the campaign goes live, then I will send you a printed copy of that bad boy with your pledge. Physical pledges only. So, but as a thank you, and you guys can go ahead and do some cool things. Put it up in a frame. Do some cool stuff like that. I'm looking to get some of the some more prints up so that I can show it to you guys as it gets closer. But dude, it's 15 days away, man. I'm excited. The page is done. Covers in for the book from the artist. So I'm gonna be showing that off in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that on my Instagram. Make sure you follow the Adventures of Wonderduck too, so you can check
Word.
that stuff out.
Word up.
Yeah,
Word
man.
up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, so that's up, man. That's what's up. And coming up next, we're gonna have Mr. Keith. Now, Keith is interesting because Keith is down with alternative comics, right? And so I want to talk to him about that journey of finding a publisher and getting his stuff out that way. Because as everybody knows who does this, it's very hard to do all of it. The marketing,
Word.
and getting the word out, selling these books, all of that stuff is very hard. It's a lot easier when you have a publisher that can kind of take care of some of that stuff. Not to say that once you find a publisher, you stop hustling, because you do have to continue the hustle. I think that's a common mistake that people think, oh, I signed up with Image, they got me. Image, you actually don't get any money from Image until they cover their cost.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to hustle. You got to hustle. It is a hustle.
Every day, I'm hustling. Yeah, I mean, it's a grind. I think, but Keith's been doing it for a minute, and he also runs his own convention. So he has a podcast. He's a convention promoter. He's a comic creator. He does it all, man. He's the trifecta. So he's been hustling. So we're looking forward to the chat with him.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
yes, and if you've missed the Crazy 10 or less, which aired
Ooh,
yesterday, it's
right.
getting a lot of comments and a lot of views. Basically, the topic was, do you really need to have boobs on your cover in order to sell your comic? If your comic has nothing to do with sex, or sexy babes, but you see a growing trend of indie creators just like I have to have a sexy cover in order to get backers. But when you open up the book, it doesn't look anything like what you see on the cover. The girls are actually fully clothed. So is that selling out? Are you just trying to make a buck, sell a comic, or are you trying to build a story and sell your story? So that was the topic, and so there's been a lot of feedback and a lot of chatter, and we'll continue that conversation on Thursday morning on
Yeah.
episode number 10 of the Morning Brew with the
Ooh,
Crazy Crew.
the dime. Yeah, man. I was we were talking about this with Sam. It's funny because yeah, like that kind of stuff, sexy covers, sex sells, man. That's just what it is. Sex, violence, drugs, those things sell. They just are. It's just human nature to kind of why can't I speak? Why
No
can't I
clue,
speak?
no clue, bro. Just say no, kids. This is what happened.
We're attracted to that kind of stuff. It's so funny though. The irony is, you put up, you know, the unique curves to sell, and the
Right.
word curves alone gets the views. It just it
Crazy.
it, it just is. It's just what happens. It's natural. I think
Yeah.
that yes, long there are keywords, and that is a keyword. That's an image that will always sell. So yeah, we'll talk about some more of that on Thursday. It's going to be
Yeah.
interesting
Port.
discussion.
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys think. There's been some chat already on that actual video. So check that
Yeah,
out.
yeah, there has been some chatter,
Yeah.
with the desktop. Yeah, unfortunately for my boy Darius Uranius, I gave him boobies and I shouldn't have, but for the sake of let me show you. For the sake of that conversation, where is it? Where's my sheet? There it is. All right, here we go. For the sake of the conversation, um, I have to give my boy some. I said, what would happen if I did this to do duty?
But that doesn't make sense because
I know, I know. But
he's
hey, in
not a
today's world, it
female.
does.
Well, yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like, I think that the stuff that's on this
Yeah,
on the
but that's what I'm
pages
saying.
are female
Yeah,
characters that
right.
have.
It doesn't make sense because it has nothing to do with it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like there are books that you see when you pick up has nothing to do with a bodacious boob on the front of the cover, but they use that as a gimmick to sell the book. So
Yeah,
what I'm saying is, if your book is selling sex, if your book's about having sexy girls, and of course your cover is going to represent that, but if your cover should represent the crux of the story. And if that's not the DNA, if that's not the ingredient of the story, then why even do it? I'm just
because it
that's my
sells.
question.
Because it sells. That's why. But we'll continue. Well, listen. That's for the morning.
Are
That's
you
for the
selling
morning
it?
people.
But are you really selling the book? Or are you selling that
You're,
art?
you're selling the book. They're buying the book.
Right, but do they want to pick up the book without the art?
Probably
That's the
not.
question.
But that's why that's on the cover. The cover is going to sell the book. So they're selling the book. They are selling the book. They're using it to sell the book. It's similar to like when if you hired Todd McFarlane to draw your book, to draw your cover, but he didn't draw the inside of the book.
Right.
But that cover by Todd McFarlane is going to sell
Which
like
is why I
hotcakes.
don't which is why I won't do it. Like for me,
No, I get it.
it's like we had that conversation when there was a specific 3 mainstream independent artists that I wanted to commission to do a cover, then I decided not to. I
Right.
said, I really want to sell the story. And so hopefully it'll be based on my art style, the story that people will enjoy. And then if it pops off down the road and it's very popular, and then I get all these, then that's different because now the story has an audience. But when I don't have an audience, I really want to attract the audience based on the merits of the story.
No, I know, but listen, there's so much to talk about on this thing, and we'll save some of this stuff for the show. Your ad really touched my heart. I'd love to buy the couch to help you reach your financial goal for two. Okay, interesting. I like how you posted that on the page. What would you
I
post?
didn't even know what I was posting.
This dude is selling a couch to tickle your belly, but what is going on out there? Anyway, yeah, no. So tune in on Thursday morning. We will be live talking about curves and boobs and do they sell? Should they sell? Why are you selling them? you know, all that fun stuff. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good stuff.
Yes. This is
Yeah.
what happens. Is it midnight? Is it a full moon? What's up?
Nah,
Yeah, I
yo,
think it's a
it's
full moon. I saw a full moon this morning.
it's mad early too.
Yeah,
Oh,
I saw a full
boy.
moon during the day. Yeah, but yeah. Once that sort of things come out at night.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, so I see that our special guest has just
Let's
arrived.
do it.
So let's see what I'm gonna do. Let's see. Let's give a bump to our girls, and then when we come back, we're gonna bring in our guests. So where are you, ladies? Here we go. Bump. What's up?
Hey,
Yes.
what's going
up,
on,
Keith?
guys?
Welcome to the Craze.
Wow,
Awesome.
man. Listen, your show was actually going to be pre-recorded, and then I thought I had to go do some stuff. It turns out I
Okay.
didn't, and boom, here you are. You're live. You're live.
I like
Ready to
it.
go with us.
Yeah, I like it. Why not? You know,
Why
live,
not?
pre-recorded, we do it all. You know.
Why
There
not?
you go. There you go.
We
How's
had
it going, guys? What's going on?
good, man. Good. How you doing?
Good, good. Can't complain. You know?
I love the Pac-Man and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man behind you. That is dope.
Dude. This wall, if you could take my personality and make it a wall, this is it right
That
here.
is
You know.
that is dope. So I see you like a lot of like nostalgic stuff. Have you seen The Loud House?
The Loud House. That's a cartoon. That's like
Yes,
a comic strip,
yes,
right?
it
Yeah.
is. It is hilarious. But before we go into all that stuff, we want to know about you. What's up, Keith?
Wait, no, hold
Introduce
on.
yourself.
Before, let's just introduce him to the audience first,
Yes.
guys. Welcome, Keith Gleason on the show. Mighty Mascots is his book, and he's joining us today live. So go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry. Now.
I was having Keith do it. So Keith, who are you? What do you do? Welcome to the Craze.
Thanks, guys. I like it. I like the backdrop there. Awesome. Yeah, so I do a lot of things. Comic creating, running Comic Cons, just doing a show, like you guys. Probably my passion is mostly in my comics though, like I have a comic series called Mighty Mascots. It's about a group of serial mascots brought to life by a 3D printing accident, and they decide to become like a superhero team, total throwback to, like 80s cartoons, 80s Marvel comics, that kind of stuff, all ages, but not all ages in a YA sense, more in all ages in the way we grew up with comics, like like Batman the animated series, or like that, or Spider-Man from like the 80s, that kind of thing, where you could have stuff like Kraven's Last Hunt, and it was still like considered like a kid title, you know what I mean? So
Nice.
that's sort of what Mighty Mascots is. It's a little tongue-in-cheek, but it's also kind of serious,
Yeah. Did you now what came first? I know you do a lot of things.
The chicken or the egg?
Was it the comics? Was it the convention? Was it the show? Like, which one of those three things kind of came first for you?
Comics, definitely. I started ever since I was a little kid, like I could draw a little bit too. I wanted to be a cartoonist growing up. Like I wanted to be like the next Charles Schultz, so like that's the kind of where my style is. It's very like Jim Davis, Garfield, or something like that, but as I was nice, as I was growing up, I still love that stuff, and I would love to. If I had to do just comic strips for the rest of my life, I would love that too. But I kind of discovered comic books when I was in junior high, and then it was kind of like, whoa, like we could do like longer stories. It was right when comics were starting to get really cool in like the late 80s,
Right.
when Watchmen and Dark Knight was hitting. that's when I was starting to collect. And yeah, you guys were there, so you guys know how your mind got blown away by like stories like this, you know. And I think I didn't make my first real comic book though until about mid 2000s, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I was always into it, like, but like I said, I was more like doing comic strips at the time. And then somewhere along the way I finally decided to make a comic book, because like you guys might remember this too, like before like 2005 it was kind of tough to
Oh yeah.
put a comic book together, because
Yeah.
you had to like finding a printer
That,
and like
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
yeah, like it was a daunting task to me. Like
Yeah.
I like you don't, when you're younger, you don't realize you can just pick up the phone and call a place and try to like put something together. But you know what I mean? So
Well,
like,
but you would have had to do that humongous print run of like 3,000
yeah,
books.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
And
So
like
you
who
would
had
have had
that
to do that.
money back then?
It
You
wasn't
know?
until print on demand that you actually were like, oh, wait a
Yes.
minute, I can
Yeah,
do
and that's when I
this.
started
Right.
noticing it was in about the
Yeah.
2005 area where
Mhm.
print on demand became a thing, you know.
Yeah.
And at the time too, I was trained traditionally, so I didn't know Photoshop or Illustrator. I kind of learned that stuff with my day job
Right.
back when I was working for a different company, like making logos and stuff. I started off in like sales, but then I kind of whittled my way over to the design portion without learning anything, like, and had them kind of teach me Photoshop and Illustrator, and that's how I kind of learned.
Yeah.
And then I was able, then I had all those skills to kind of finally put a comic together, you know.
Well,
And so that's what happened.
you had all those skills, and then you also had the sales background to be able to sell them.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, at those-
exactly. Like
that's
and I
important.
have that customer service
Yeah.
background growing
Yeah.
up too. Worked in a lot of, you know, crappy customer service jobs. So, but but you understand like that mentality when you talk to somebody. It's not like, you know, like you're hiding behind your sketch pad at shows or anything, you know. Like, so
Yeah,
I had
no,
all that background.
Is that how you
Uh,
met Johnny?
Yeah, actually, Johnny, I met him for the first time at my first Comic-Con that I ever put together, which is
Oh.
kind of funny.
Oh,
Like, I
nice.
think we had crossed paths at one point, but we didn't, you know, like you meet like tons of people at shows. You know, I'm sure you guys are the same. Like, you have to meet somebody like 5 times before they make an impression on you,
Right.
or you remember their name. You know,
Mhm.
that was kind of like me and Johnny, but like I liked him instantly. Like, and like when we first met, like I was like, I like this kid. He's got it together. Very positive. I think positive energy tracks positive energy, and then negative energy tracks
Yeah,
negative energy. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
so I think that's why me and Johnny work as
Yeah.
like co-hosts and like, you know, just as friends. You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that was about. So we've only been friends for about 5-6 years now. Like the first show I did was in like 2015 or 16. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
But that's where I first met him. It was just a small like show, you know, that we threw together. And I kind of started, I didn't want to be a con promoter, but I kind of took it upon myself because I didn't like what was going on in conventions, you know.
Well,
And-
so Keith, real quick before we even jump
Yeah.
into the convention, 'cause
Yeah, I
wanna
know. I'm
talk
going all over
about
the
that
place.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Mighty Mascots, right? Boom. You create this book. Now, did you create it with the mindset of I'm also going to draw it and put it out, or did you always plan on hiring somebody to help you with it?
I always pictured it as hiring somebody to bring it to life, because I'm very limited in my art skills. Like I wanted a superhero kind of look for it, and I have a hard time drawing like realistic superheroes, like, you know, in perspective and things like that. So I kind of knew I was going to hire out for the book. And I originally had I originally created the book with. Do you guys know Frankie B. Washington?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, didn't we have him on the show, Sam?
We
Oh,
had him on
wow.
the show in the early days of Catch the Craze, and
Early, way
he
back.
also did a duty drawing that
Yes.
I
Oh,
posted.
did he really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Oh, nice. It's small world. See?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I started the book with him, and he designed all the characters. And at the time, Mighty Mascots was, I was just self-publishing a lot of stuff, and I had started to do an anthology book, and it was like, just it's not really it was an anthology because it's a bunch of different stories, but it wasn't a bunch of different creators. It was like me
Just
writing
you.
every story,
Yeah.
and then hiring different art teams for each story. And one of the stories was Mighty Mascots, and I did 2 chapters of that, which was like 16 pages with Frankie. And what happened was, as I was doing that book, like that book was starting to get like some attention just from fans and things like that. Oh, we really like this idea. It's really cool. And I kind of liked it too, because I felt it was very original. Like I hadn't seen anything anywhere like where like serial mascots were like superheroes or something,
Cool. Yeah.
Like I heard there was a comic called like I don't know, there was like a web comic about the real serial mascots at some point. I forget the name of it. It was like called like Serial Killers or Breakfast of the Gods or something like that.
Right.
And that was the only thing I had ever heard of that had, like serial mascots. But I guess in that web comic, it was more like a murder mystery or something. But so that's why I kind of felt very confident about the title. And that's when I started shopping it around to small publishers. I sent stuff to Image. I sent it to Dark Horse. You name it, whatever small publisher was around. And then I hadn't even thought of Alterna at the time, but like I think about a year after I was done shooting that all around, I was just going to do it myself and keep putting it out myself. Pete started that. I don't know if you guys know Pete. He's the guy that runs Alterna.
Yep.
He started doing the newsprint stuff, and I was
Right.
like, "Oh, that is brilliant! No one's doing like newsprint,
Right.
And I love that you could get a whole like 24-page book for like $1.50 at the time.
It was cheap.
It's insane, So I was like, let me pitch to Alterna and see if they'll take the book. And
how many books did you have? Like how many issues did you have in the
I only had the 2 8-page stories that me and Frankie had done.
Wow.
And so I don't know if you ever look at his submission guidelines on the Alterna website, but he only wants to see 8 pages. So I was like, well, here's all 16, and I sent all 16 off. And he came back and he's like, I like this, but this is the stuff I don't like about the story. And he gave me like all these pointers about what he didn't like. And he after I redid everything, he was 100% right. Like what I was doing in those early storylines is kind of like what the Transformers movies do. Like, you have this movie about Transformers, but the movie is focused on the human characters and not the Transformers, which you really want to see. That's what I was kind of doing with my early mascot stories. I had it focused on the human characters, and the mascots were like kind of in the background. And one his biggest note was, these guys are your stars, not, you know what I mean? You got to put them in front and center. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So I went back, and then this is where me and Frankie kind of fell apart, is like Frankie didn't want to redraw the entire thing again, but with a new script. And I don't blame him, because I know if someone handed me the same thing, I was like, no freaking way am I doing that, So I started looking for another artist, and that's where I found Ian on Facebook. And Ian's just like phenomenal talent, really quick, just a great artist. And I love his like manga-esque kind of style too. So I resubmitted it with him, and then it got accepted the second time.
Wow.
And the rest is history,
That's awesome, man. And then how many issues are you in now?
I I'm done 6 issues. I'm about to start 7, 8, and 9. I'm gonna
Good for
be
you.
launching the next campaign in July.
All right.
So I don't even have the pre-launch up yet. I got to do that soon, probably this week or next, just to
Yeah.
get something going. I know I need to get a couple months ahead of the actual campaign, you know. So
Yeah. Are you putting it on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or?
I'll probably do Indiegogo. I did really good on Indiegogo with I've done both platforms. I find Indiegogo better though.
Really?
And I think it's because I like and you guys have both done Kickstarters, you know, like at the end, you know, like you often get ghosted, you know, what by people, and you lose a lot of money at the end.
Yeah.
Was when they come to collect that money, sometimes about 10% of those people aren't there with their credit cards, you know. So
Yeah.
I like that Indiegogo, when you buy something, you got to buy it right then and there, and the money's taken out immediately, you know. I like that so much better. And then I also like the in-demand part of it, you know.
After the
So
campaign's over.
yeah, I love that you can keep it open for it functions as like an online store in a lot of ways, you know,
Yeah.
after the fact. My last campaign, when I went in demand, I would have left let me see, probably about $5,000 on the table.
Wow.
If I didn't
Damn.
go in demand. Yeah, no, it's
Wow.
because I stayed open probably about 4 or 5 months after the campaign closed, and like, you know, continue to make money after that. So
Good for you. How
yeah.
how did you build that fan base on Indiegogo? Because I feel like that's probably one of the hardest things also is just, I mean, in both platforms, I would say, it's just building that fan base. What did you do to kind of get that going? Was it because it's linked to Alterna, you think? Is that
I
part of
think
it?
so. Like I had because you know I already had the 3 issues out in stores. This was when Alterna was still distributing with Diamond. They kind of left Diamond like 2 years ago, and they haven't looked back. But I was like the last. My 3 issues were like some of the last ones to go to stores, you know, before they ended their relationship with Diamond. So I had somewhat of a fan base growing because of that. And, you know, just, I went on a ton of YouTube shows, you know, I don't know. There was a lot of factors, and I was shocked by how well it did, you
That's
know?
good though, yeah.
But yeah, no, and I think because I have the convention too, I know a lot of people there that you know, artists and writers. I know most of the vendors that come to my show are supportive and things like that. So I think everybody was kind of like, oh, you know, because I don't normally run a lot of campaigns. I've only done maybe about 3 or 4.
Right.
But now they're kind of becoming more and more necessary, I think, with, you know, the more books you produce. Like, I think they kind of a cornerstone of your business now, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
How
I'm thinking of looking to do maybe 1 a year, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. How does that work with a publisher now? Like, so all right, so you have your creator-owned project, right? It's
Yeah.
Mighty Mascots. It's being published through Alterna,
Yeah.
and you're doing a crowdfunding campaign for it. Does Alterna now says, hey, I'm going to need a little kickback from those books, or is it just like, hey, it's your book, do what you got to do with your money?
No, he's supportive about like us doing campaigns to raise the money to create the books.
Oh,
and then like he almost looks at when he puts them out through Alterna, it's like almost like a secondary life for your books.
Mm-hmm.
So
Smart.
he's very hands off. I mean, he does like us to promote, like he looks for creators that are, you know, don't have any drama in their lives, and like, you know what I mean, and they're like excited about their books and things like that. Like he looks for people like that, you know.
Good.
And then he looks for a good product on top of that. So
right.
I guess I fit that bill a little bit, you know. So
good.
But
hey, it's perfect. That's perfect. It works.
Yeah, no, I love that he lets us do that, and he doesn't want to cut. Like he'll take a cut when it comes out through Alterna, but when we do our own campaigns, we can offer other things to fans that necessarily couldn't get through Alterna, like T-shirts of the Mighty Mascots, or well, with this new campaign, I'm looking at doing like custom pirate eye patches with like Honey Flakes' logo on the eye patch. I think that could be kind of fun, you know.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so that's stuff you couldn't get, you know, through Alterna, but you can get through me as a creator, you know.
Yeah, no. Big shout out to Hero2567, who we know is as Hero Rodriguez. He's a really good artist, and he said, "Loving the big dude with the screen for a head on Mighty Mascots." Who is that character? Who is the?
Oh, he's talking about Boom. So yeah, there's so they're all kind of like archetypes, or yeah, loosely based off real serial mascots. So like get the pirate, Captain Honey Flakes, who's, you know, kind of like Captain Crunch. The Martian is a real deep cut. It's from this cereal right here called Quisp. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, okay.
It's an old school cereal. The alien's name's Mondo. He's from that. And then we have Boxer Bear, who's kind of like a combination of like Sugar Smacks and like Tony the Tiger or something like that, you know. And then the three robots, Whack, Smack, and Boom, are kind of like alliteration, like the Rice Krispie guys, but they're more like they're like their own thing, but they kind of form into a giant robot too. So it has that little bit of the Voltron kind of, you know, action in there. And then you have the Kool-Aid Man, who's sort of like called Brewster McPunch. He's sort of like their Flash, or the goofy character, you know, that always making jokes and things like that, you know. So it's very fun. Like it's fun to write. It's fun to come up with their villains, and their storylines, things like that, you know. So
so are your storylines every 3 issues? You have a new arc? Is that how it's working for you? Or
that's what I started doing. And then I, you know, so it started off as a mini series first, because what I don't know if you guys are familiar with Diamond. Like what they do is they, you know, constantly have like huge number 1 numbers, but then like when you get into number 2, the book, they, you know, the numbers start to dip, and then 3 and 4, and then it goes down and down and down. So Pete was doing every alternate title as a mini series to sort of game that system a little bit. So you'd have a 3-issue story, you'd sell it through, and then you start with a new number 1, and the numbers would go back up again, you know. So he was treating it like a mini series. But then when we pulled away from Diamond, it was like, well, you guys can be ongoing, and then you can either do single issues, you can do, you know, however long storylines you want, you know. So so I'm looking to do like more like one and dones, and maybe 2-parters and things like that, and then maybe build up to a bigger storyline, you know. But I can only like realistically produce maybe 3 a year, you know. You guys know it's like a lot of work making a comic, you know.
Forget it. It's incredible. So now, all right, so you have your comic. Now what came next? To promote it, did you do the convention and then the show, or did the show become before the convention? What happened next?
Okay, yeah, the convention actually happened next, and that was around 2015. I was just, like I was saying to you guys earlier, I was kind of disgusted with the way Comic Cons were going away from comics. Like it was everything but comics was, you know, what I was saying for a while. Excuse me. Like it just seemed like everything was like cosplay, celebrities, you know, just everything but. So all my artist friends, we started noticing like that in around 2015, and we're just like, everyone was just bummed out. Like, you know, no one's making money, and you know, there wasn't any show, just comics anymore. So I was like, you know what? Let me look in to see how hard it is to do one of these things, you know, because like I had the background in customer service, and I was I've had management jobs, so I felt like I could manage the con. It was just like the little things you don't think about, like if I rent a place, like is the fire marshal going to shut me down, or you know, things like that, like that I didn't know. And shout out to Mitch, who runs Terrificon up in Connecticut. Like I've known him for years before he even did a show. He was just doing podcasts like us, and I just knew him from there. And I just called him up, and I was like, Mitch, boom, what is all of this? Like, how what will happen if I do this and this? He gave me all the answers.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
And I was like, so let's try it. And so we did. We did 1 year. We did like a VFW, like old school, about 40 tables, and it was a phenomenal.
And it was just artists,
the
just
shit
comics.
out of it.
It was just comics,
just comics, artists. Yep. And we just advertised the crap out of it, and then we did free admission because it was so small.
Right.
And I mean, the whole town of Leominster showed up. Like the mayor came to the show. It was like nuts.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, like if we do another year, I got to find a bigger place. I mean, it was that jam packed.
Damn, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. And it was everybody that took a chance on the show. You know how first year shows are just kind of like usually suck. But everybody that took a chance on me was like, unbelievable. Like people were making hand over fist money. Like it was nuts. Like Joe St. Pierre. I don't know if you guys know Joe St. Pierre. He just did Spider-Man back in the day. Mm-hmm. He had like 5 stacks of trades like this high. By the end of the show, they were all gone. I was like, oh my god, dude. It was incredible. Like freaking crazy. Like the amount of money people were making. Like we even set up and we made like better money than I had seen in a show and since like the New York early days.
Yeah.
And so the next year we were like, we got to find a bigger space, so we moved to a hockey rink, and that's where the show's kind of been ever since. So we take the ice out of the hockey rink, and then we just put 100 tables down there, and then we have some upstairs in the where the admission is, and it's nuts. And
what's the name of the show for those watching?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Plastic City Comic Con. It's this will be our 5th year, I think. It's crazy. And
you had to take a break during the pandemic. Obviously, they all did, right?
Yes.
When did you guys actually come back?
So we haven't. So this coming July is us coming back. So like we've been off the last 2 years. So as I think. When we finally return, people will just be like ecstatic again,
Yeah.
So
like
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
definitely. And then I wasn't even looking to do like a YouTube show or anything, and I kind of just fell into my lap during the pandemic. Nice. Like 2 things were happening. Like I had launched the campaign, and then I was looking for other ways to promote my stuff, Mighty Mascots, and then I was like, Johnny, it's like, hey Johnny, if I do a show, do you want to like come on and talk? We can talk to guests and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. He's like, he didn't want to do any of the work though. He was like, if you set up everything, I'll just show up and we can do the show. And I was like, totally fine. Yeah, let me do it. Because with the pandemic, we had like endless time to do other things. So it was like, it made sense to start the YouTube show, and that's what we did, and it's been going well. Like I think once it becomes part of your daily routine, I imagine this is part of with you guys too. It just becomes another thing you do during the day. You know what I mean? So once we got into that pattern, now it's been good. It's been going strong since whenever was like we started it a month into the pandemic. So when was that? Two and a half years ago at this point or something like that.
I mean, you may be going. You said 2 months into the pandemic, so in May you may be coming up on your 2-year anniversary.
Yeah. It's freaking nuts.
So for those who don't know, he's talking about Indie Comics Relay, which is a show that Keith and Johnny C do, and you guys do it every Wednesday or every second Wednesday, or what's your schedule?
We try to go. We started with a bi-weekly schedule because Johnny's like, we're gonna run out of people to talk to in like 2 months. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, because originally I wanted to go weekly, and so we started doing the bi-weekly schedule, and here I can't even like we have people booked out until like July right now, so it's been like the word got out, and then we haven't had any slowdown with guests. It's like crazy, but we're still trying to keep that bi-weekly schedule, because I find that when we take a week off, when we finally come back to YouTube, me and him are kind of like, yeah, let's go.
Be
You know what I mean?
energized,
Like,
ready to go. Let's do
yeah,
it.
you're ready to take it on, like a wrestling match or something,
That's awesome, man. We're missing Michael San Martino is a long time listener of the show.
Oh yeah, hey Mike.
Great dude. He's got
Yeah,
he's
he
got
was
a
just
book
released.
himself, and we're missing a lot of. He's a jokester, so we're missing a lot of his good jokes over here. He's going in about the minute you mentioned the ice skating rink, he said you should keep the ice. Comic-Con on ice, skate into deals. Comic-Con on the rocks, drink, skate, and buy comic books. Like he's just
So you know that he had one of those pop-up shops in Harlem.
Oh, did he really?
Like Crazy Eddie.
Oh, really? How long did it last for?
I don't think he really did. I think so.
I was just busting his chops.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
well,
man.
you never know, right?
It's
like those
you know
things
what? Mike might have had that.
yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to comment on something. I noticed that your covers have almost like a DuckTales feel to it, with the colors and the way the characters come at you. Was that purposeful, or was it just something that just evolved?
I think it just evolved. Like I never, like, it's funny with Ian. Like I never gave him any instructions on what to do. He brought a lot of fun stuff to the book, though. Like I know, like when you decide to work with an artist, you always set up front, like how do they want to work. Like
Right.
you have that discussion if they like to break down the script, or if they work off thumbnails, things like that. And that's what Ian likes to work off thumbnails. He doesn't like to break down the script. So, but then with that being said, he actually adds a lot to, like, I'll send him thumbnails, and like in the first issue, to give you an example, there's like two thugs at the very beginning of the book that go and basically start this whole thing off by dumping like a chemical into like the store sprinkler system. And I just wrote that they're just two random thugs. And then Ian came back to me. He's like, what if I drew them like the wet bandits from like Home Alone? And I was like, absolutely perfect. So if you look at the first issue, the two thugs in the beginning are basically Harry and whatever the other guy's name is from Home Alone. So I was like, that's really fun, and it was added perfectly to the comic, so.
No, but I totally get you, man. When it comes to writing these stories, there's so much fun to write because you become a kid writing these stories. It's like these adventures, and they're so easy to write at that point.
There is like, like if you grew up with this stuff when we did, I think like it just makes it so much easier to write, because you kind of emulate what you grew up with in a lot of ways. And like not necessarily copy, but like you kind of write, I don't want to say like similar kind of stories, like I'm channeling like like Spider-Man that I grew up with like in the 80s, like whenever I write superhero stuff, like I love the like the soap opera elements, and like the heroic stuff though too, like just the stakes, coming up with like the cliffhanger endings and things like that. I love that stuff,
Yeah,
I mean, I can also see the popcorn character from Greece. That's
yeah, right.
I can see where all the influences come from.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, it's true, man. True. It's true. It's one of those things where like it becomes so much easier to write that way because it doesn't take itself too seriously. You're not, you know what I mean? Like it's just a fun story. You're going to go in there and you're going to enjoy it, and that's it. Take it for what it is.
Yeah, definitely. I agree 1,000%. And that's why it's like I have a hard time connecting with some of the modern comics today. Like they're either really too serious, or they're not fun comics. Like like you read a book where it's like two talking heads for 20 pages sitting in a diner talking about something, and it's like, what? It's like, was this a rejected Netflix script or something? You know what I mean? Like it just some of this stuff, it feels like it's
like
somebody
trying to pitch to a network, and so there's a template that everyone's using, and you see a lot of it.
Yes, definitely. And like people write like just like crazy over the top stuff anymore, you know, and that's what I love. You know, like I love superhero battles. Like no one writes action anymore, like in comics. Like, you know, Dr. Doom and Mr. Fantastic talk it out now. You know, it's just like,
Talk it out.
you know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know, it's not the same.
Nah, it's true, man. It's true. But Keith, when is your next convention? The Plastic City Comic Con? When it's in July, right?
July 16th. It's a 1-day show. We've been struggling with, like, people are like, oh, I should go 2 days, and I don't know. It's like one day's just work, you know. Like I'm sure you guys have a preference too, right? I mean, 1 days are great because people come in and they have to spend all their money in that one day. There's no like, you know, spreading it out over the entire weekend, and there's no like, I'll be back on Sunday
back tomorrow. And never come back.
You guys, how many times you heard that? We'd be millionaires if we could monetize
Are you here
that
all weekend?
statement.
Yeah.
But I love the 1-day shows because there's, you know, they come in and buy, and then that's it, and you go home that night. It's awesome. The problem I have as a promoter though with 1-day shows is that if you wanted to bring like a big guest in, you can't really, because a lot of them don't want to fly in for 1 day. You know, like if you got somebody coming in from California, it's like, oh God, it's like, you know, I don't know if I want to come in for 1 day, you know? So like sometimes I'll try if I bring in, not, unfortunately not at the moment, but put an application in on the website. There might be stuff that opens up last minute, you know, which really, my waiting list is small.
I think I'm on 4 waiting lists.
Are you really?
But they're all in Texas. They're all in Texas,
right?
Texas, like they filled up months in advance.
You got to go like almost a year ahead. It's crazy. Like,
you have to reserve your spot because everybody's trying to get a table now.
Yeah, it's true. Like because cons are coming back. I did a couple the last few weeks, and they've been fantastic. People are just ready for them again. You know,
I heard. And it's like Wicked,
better than last year. What's that?
Comic Con was one of those that did really well.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked was amazing. Like I was a little worried about it because like a week out before the show, they were like, hey, everybody, can you promote that you're going to be at the Comic Con this weekend? And I'm like, isn't that your job? Like, you know, I was a little worried about that. And then, but we went in and it was gangbusters. So
good.
All right. We can go all night with you, but we have another guest coming up soon, but we want to give you the spotlight.
Okay.
I want you to tell people how to reach you. When's your next campaign? And where can they, what websites and social handles?
Definitely. I'll give you, so recklesssidekick.com is my main website for my comic stuff. Or heroenvy.com. I think both of those URLs will go to the site. That's where you can pick up all my social media stuff. I'm pretty active on Twitter and a little bit on Instagram and Facebook, but anywhere you could follow me there. And then for the Comic-Con, it's plasticcitycomiccon.com. And we have a link on the Reckless Sidekick site and all that stuff too, as well. That is about it. The campaign's coming in July. I'll probably have a pre-launch page up in the next couple of weeks. This is for Mighty Mascots 7, 8, and 9. So check that out.
Awesome. Well, Keith, you know what? You know, you guys are always welcome on the show. You guys are amazing. I love the same things that you love. That stuff is great.
Thanks. Thank you.
Success to you in your campaign and to your event. And whenever you guys want to come on and promote something, just hit us up.
Yeah, same. Sweet. Goes in both directions.
All right. Thank you so much, bro. We'll talk soon, though.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Good seeing you guys again.
You too, buddy. Thank you. Take care.
All right. So that was Keith Leeson, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes because we will be talking to Russ Allen from Russ Explode as he launches his campaign for Kit Kat and Piggy Girl. Cat and Piggy Girl, which launches on Kickstarter tonight, and he'll be launching that on Catch the Craze. So join us at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time as we do that. And with that said, Thank you, Hector and the Mike for showing up, and the crazy dude that started off soft in the beginning. But with that said, I'm saying the crazy man Vera.
Towards the Dreamer Medina. See you in a few.
And we are out.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him.
Say my name,
Right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh,
He described me. He said, "I'm the." What?
Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.